Who is going to make it all the way to the grand finals? Who is going to face Eggs to be today's champion? Is it going to be Pacomike or is it going to be Jim? Place your bets. You have 3 minutes to make your decision and to confirm, to wager your channel points on who is going to be our finalist. Here we go, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Curious Minds LE. We have our Mexican Zerg player representing Timbers Esports, Macacos, Mexico, Zerg. It is JimRising. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have the man himself, the best Protoss in all of Latino America, representing Infernales Esports. It is Pacomike. My question is, what kind of Paco are we going to get here? Are we going to get El Gran Paquito, you know, the man who goes to the late game, who was able to dominate that stage of the game as well, hit timings, go for carrier timings, the innovative player that we usually see? Or are we going to see Paco Vid? Are we going to see him go for just 2-base all in after 2-base all in after 2-base all in and struggle against Jim like we did last time? That is the question. What are we going to see? Hopefully we see the former and not the latter. Again, Pacomike, he's a great player. There's a reason why he's the best Protoss in all of Latin America. But at the same time, you know, he likes to have fun. And throw caution to the wind and just do random stuff sometimes. Shaking my head. Oh, God. But so far, everything has been pretty standard, you know, which is what I would expect from Jim. You know, hatch gas pool, like, nothing crazy is going on. Even though he may dislike this matchup, he doesn't necessarily try to end the game early and go for 12 pools or 2-base virtual lins or anything like that. To be fair, they don't really have too much success anymore, just because of how defensive Protoss can be with shield batteries and how powerful Void Rays can be early on as well defensively. So yeah, JimRising he isn't that crazy. He isn't that crazy. As he's going for his third, and as we see, Pacomike is going for his Stargate opening. So this is where I start to get a little bit concerned. I was talking about the map earlier. I was talking about how surprised I was to see Curious Minds. And honestly, it can be really difficult to make Skytoss work on this map, just because of how difficult it is for a Protoss player to expand and take a third base. These bases are so open, they're so exposed, the rush distance by ground is pretty short for Queen Walks, which is why usually when we see Protoss on this map, they either go Twilight Council opener, or they go one Stargate into a Twilight Council, and go for later Glaive Adepts, for example. Or charge the all-ins, or, you know, we've seen +1 Blink Stalker rise, have a bit of rise in, have a bit of a resurgence as well. But yeah, we usually don't see a lot of success with double Stargate. So we'll see how this goes. Obviously, we do see with the initial Stargate, we have an Oracle coming out instead of the Void Ray, so Pacomike is a little bit more concerned with scouting and harassment, not so much with denying scouting information by getting that Void Ray. As the first Oracle is zooming across the map. This was scouted by Jim, so he should be getting ready. Like, there we go. First Spore is already done in the natural base. In the main, the third is exposed, but I mean, there aren't really many drones there, and the Queens are headed in that direction anyway, so JimRising should be okay. Unfortunately, no Queen here at the natural, so a couple of drones are going to get picked up, but only 3. Not the biggest deal in the world. Jim is still able to drone up comfortably, get more Queens, and establish himself on 3 bases. Meanwhile, Pacomike goes for a pretty quick third. And we do see that he's not going for a second Stargate, so obviously he's well aware of the advantages and weaknesses of this map. Once he gets his Void Ray out and once he clears up that Overlord, he does immediately go into that Forge and Twilight Council, So this does look like +1 Blink Stalkers, which Pacomike has been playing with recently. I'm pretty sure he did this against Ryu in their series 2 weeks ago. The reason why I'm saying +1 Blink Stalkers is just because he has taken all 4 of his gases and he hasn't pulled out. So there's +1, and we should be seeing Blink. I'd be shocked if we saw like Charge. I'd be even more shocked if we saw Glaives. That'd be insane. Meanwhile, Pacomike, he's just making sure JimRising has very limited vision out on the map, clearing out all the lings, taking control of all the watchtowers. That Oracle from earlier is still zipping around trying to find some damage. You do see a stasis ward towards the third base. It is noticed though. Jim will not fall for it, and he will only get a single drone stasis. And there it is. There is that blink. It is a little bit late. I was kind of second guessing myself a little bit just because of how late this was. It should have started at the same time as +1, to be honest. So if Pacomike wanted to hit a crisp timing, it is going to be a little bit wonky as a result. And I'm curious to see if JimRising is going to get caught off guard by this, because he hasn't scouted. He hasn't seen what's in the main base. For all he knows, there is a fleet beacon and another Stargate. For all he knows, it's, I mean, by now, if it was Glaive Adepts would be hitting, to be fair. So in his mind, he's crossing off what it could be and what it couldn't be. +1, not +2. I mean, sure. Guess my assumption was that he was going to hit with a +1 timing, but judging because how late it is, I imagine he's probably going to work on +2 as well. I mean, again, this isn't really lined up. Meanwhile, what I'm worried about is that Jim, honestly, his composition right now is pretty good against what he's up against. He's going Roach Hydra. Eventually, I imagine, into Lurkers. And there's a reason why Ground Toss kind of fell off. It's not really popular anymore, because Ground Toss can struggle quite a bit against Hydra, Lurker, Viper. You never want to be pushing into Lurkers. It's a rough thing to do. To be fair, like, Jim doesn't have a Lurker Den right now. But yeah. Maybe Pacomike can make something work here. As he's transitioning, we do see Robotics Bay on the way as well. Quickly checking the vision of Pacomike, he did confirm earlier what the army composition was looking like, and I mean, he's free to move out now. Like, he can always recall just in case, like, if things are getting a little bit too hairy. But yeah, he's got to be careful. He's got to be careful. So here we go. Pacomike is just floating around with the edge of creep here of JimRising. I'm a little bit concerned. There we go. I was like, mate, where's that Lurker Den? Like, the Hive is already done. So the Lurker Den is a little bit late. Ideally, you want it to finish at around the same time as the Hydra Den, as the Hive, so you can start working on those Lurker upgrades immediately. So Jim is a little bit late. But in comes Pacomike, abusing the fact that Jim never spread creep in this location. Exclamation mark for Nada Jim. Now he's being punished for it. Like, Roach Hydra is okay, but where are the Lurkers? We need them. Maybe Pacomike can make something happen before that, but oh my god, 3 of those sentries get sniped immediately, and the last sentry is out of energy, which means no more force fields, which means there's going to be nothing stopping Jim from just moving on forward. Okay, we do have a couple more sentries morphed in, but yo, Pacomike, you gotta leave. At this point, you gotta recognize, oh mate, I don't have a lot of energy left, I don't have a lot of force fields. The potential of being surrounded is pretty high. Instead, he doubles down. He throws down 2 more sentries. Oh god. I mean, I get it, there's not a lot of creep here. Like, you want to take advantage of this situation while it's there. But the problem is, Lurkers are being morphed in. The Lurkers are on the way, and they're going to change everything. Not just Lurkers, but also Vipers. I just don't know if this is the wisest choice. And there we go. Lurkers are revealed. There is 0 detection here. There is no way for Pacomike to break this location. He backs off. Meanwhile, JimRising is like, hey, All I need to defend a lurker is let's just go for a counterattack. Let's just send it. Oh my god, the Oracle got sniped. The Oracle was the only form of detection. The Revelation was all he had. Oh god, a couple of purification novas are going off, but they miss. I mean, they did get one lurker, but... Okay, we have a couple more disruptors. Oh, there's still no detection. Another nova goes off. Oh, he does get two lurkers. There's only one left. Mate, who needs detection? Oh god. Jim just keeps taking them to the face. He does have a couple more Vipers on the way. There we go. Finally, we do have a yoink on one of those disruptors. Oh my god. Jim, please. Pacomike will defend just barely. Purification Novas were beautiful. They were just what he needed. Finally, he has detection. He was chronoing out 2 observers at a time. There we go. I still don't know if pushing out is the wisest choice. JimRising, he did manage to rebuild the Vipers that he lost. He just needs a little bit of time to gather that energy. There are those lurkers as well. Like, pushing into this isn't really going to work for Pacomike, and I think he recognizes that, so he is trying to transition to the Sky Toss. But it feels like a pretty late transition, to be honest. I feel like we could have seen this a little bit sooner. Boy, here we go. How good are the yoinks going to be? We have 4 disruptors. Shots go. Oh no! Pacomike, he just sent all 4 of his shots off. That's it. That's all he has. Mate. Pacomike a little trigger happy there. You can't afford to do stuff like that. You need to pace yourself. He's going for a bit of a zealot run by. Oh, he's going to catch up with a couple of Hydras. Not bad. I was a little bit confused about whether they had a charge or not. It's all good. It's all good. Don't worry about it. We got the one token swarm host. Love to see it. Everyone does it. Even the Koreans. Look, sometimes your finger slips, you make a swarm host, it happens. But this zealot run by did so much. It didn't just kill Hydras, a couple of drones went down, it pulled the entire army back home, and again, it gives Pacomike more time to get his carriers out. Like, that's what's important right now. Pacomike, he's just defending at home, he's making sure he's secure in 4 bases, and he's getting his Sky Toss. Oh boy. Here we go, the army of Jim is coming in, but is it too late? At the moment, we only have 2 carriers, so the Hydra Lurker Viper is still going to do well. We see a yoink. No, the purification novas, they go off in the center of the army. Oh god. Jimbo, not like this. And everything's getting cleaned up. We have detection. GG gets called, and Pacomike does it. He holds on and he takes game 1 on Curious Minds. Hey, who needs observers? Who needs oracles, mate, when you're up against lurkers? Oh god, but that was impressive though. I see some people in the chat pointing it out as well. It's like, damn, like, it was impressive that Pacomike was able to hold despite not seeing where the lurkers were. And honestly, that was a pretty critical moment, because if he had missed with those purification novas, Jim would have kept pushing forward, and he probably would have been able to break Pacomike before he got into his fleet beacon and before he got into his Sky Toss. Like, that's a very real possibility, and I'm sure that's exactly what JimRising wanted. I'm sure he wanted to end the game then and there. Unfortunately, and this is the hard thing about going Hydra Lurker Viper as an army composition, is that your transition into Corruptors can be really awkward because you're spending so much gas. Like, Hydras and Lurkers, they are so gas intensive. It is difficult to transition out of that and actually have a bank or an economy to sustain switching into Corruptors and getting upgrades and all of that. It can be a really difficult thing to do. So JimRising was kind of stuck with what he had, and we saw how it kind of fell on its face as the game went on. Not really the ideal army you want once we get into the air. And to be fair, like, even if there weren't carriers there, like, mate, those Novas. Yeah, GG, well played by both our players. And now we are diving into game number 2. Oh. I appreciated the opener from Pacomike. It's something that we don't see too often, going Stargate into Blink Stalkers. Again, it's something that players have been playing around with a little bit more often in recent times, in the recent months, just because Stargate play has been so played out and Zerg players have been gotten so good at defending against it. Like Protosses, they want to be able to mix things up. And now, here we go. We are diving into game number 2 of this best of 3 semifinals. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have the Mexican Protoss player representing Infernales Esports, currently leading the series. Only needs one more to move on to the grand finals. It is Pacomike. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have the Mexican Zerg player representing Tibbers Esports and Todos los Macacos. It is JimRising. Ay, ay, ay. And this is where I start to worry for Jim, because I feel like Curious Minds was Jim's map to lose. Like, that was where he was supposed to gain some momentum. Now that we're on 2000 Atmospheres, Pacomike is going to be feeling pretty good at home. Going to be feeling at home even. If you're not familiar with how Pacomike prefers to play, he was playing Skytoss before it was cool. He was going double Stargate carrier before the Void Ray meta came into play. Like, he is all about it. And this is a pretty good map for that. Like, 2000 Atmospheres, it's pretty large. There are a lot of bases to take. There are a lot of avenues of attack, so you can kind of expand in different directions if you wish. It takes a while for counterattacks to really hit you. Like, I'm sure Pacomike, I mean, maybe I'm gonna eat my words, but I'm like, yo, let's go into the Stargates this game. And he's gonna have an easier time doing so. But we'll see. We'll see if he does do that, or if he decides to go into Twilight Council play. You know, is he gonna go Blink Stalker again? Is he gonna go into Glaive Adepts? He has played around with Glaive Adepts in the past. But there we go. We do see a Stargate to begin with. This is immediately spotted by JimRising. But, I mean, there's no surprise. Like, even last game when Pacomike was going for Blink Stalkers, he still opened up with a Stargate. Like, it's just so versatile. With that Void Ray, just keeping your opponent in the dark, it's so important to do so, and so impactful as well. As we see immediately, all the Void Rays, all the Overlords are turning around. They're like, we gotta get out of here. And that's where players like Ryu kind of excel, just because of how good they are at scouting, whether it's with Lings or with Overseers or even with Overlords, and avoiding Void Ray patterns. JimRising isn't necessarily known for that, so yeah, he's going to be in the dark a little bit more, as this time it is a Void Ray first, as opposed to Curious Minds, where Pacomike was prioritizing that Oracle instead. And we'll see how things change. I kind of hope we see, like, if Pacomike does go for a second Stargate, I hope we don't see Hydras again. Like, I know that it's what JimRising is comfortable with. He's very comfortable with his Hydras. But I would like to see some more Spire play come out. Like, there it is. There's the second Stargate. I mean, shock horror, second Stargate on 2000 Atmospheres. It is kind of what we expected. JimRising doesn't know this yet. He's actually making a decent wave of Lings. Oh my god! I didn't even notice. He actually cut drone production pretty early at 35. He's sending a massive wave of Lings across the map to that third base. Can Pacomike hold on? He only has a single Void Ray. No Oracle. Oh my god, and is it gonna be enough? Shield battery finishes up. Pacomike, you gotta focus on the Nexus. Puppy, please. He doesn't. Oh. And JimRising will force a cancel. So a nice start here by Jim, slowing down that economy of Pacomike. Yo, he's coming back. Let's go. Okay. The wall is a wall at the natural, and we see that Pacomike is going straight for that flea beacon. Oh my god. But he's not stopping Void Ray production. Is he going to get Flux Veins? We shall see. I think something else that's really important to note, there we go, he is going for Flux Veins. The Lings are still dancing around. What's important right now is that the Lings have been checking this wall pretty frequently. And something that they've noticed is the Cybercore isn't researching. There is no +1 on the way, +1 air attack. So Pacomike is selling the fact that he isn't going Sky Toss. A single Void Ray has been shown, but that's pretty normal. Like, it could be the same build as game number 1 for all JimRising knows. Like, there is still no tell. Oh boy. So again, the revelation of all these Void Rays is going to be a pretty big surprise for Jim. He's still just droning up on 3 bases. There's the Hydra Den. I mean, whether it was going to be ground or sky, Hydras would be the answer for Jim. I'm a little bit concerned his creep isn't really looking that great. He doesn't have that many queens either. Oh my, he's got 4 queens? 4 queens? Oh god. Is this GG? This may just be GG. Void Rays are coming across the map. This still hasn't been scouted. JimRising was not aware of the double Stargate, and with only 4 queens, with 2 of them being separated without any creep in between the bases, these Void Rays could win the game. They're wasting a lot of time here on this Void Ray, but they gotta keep going. They can take the hatchery. They can take everything. Queen goes down immediately. There's not enough engine for transfuse. And say goodbye base. Oh god. The base goes down. The queens can't transfuse each other, so the Void Rays, they can just reign supreme here as well. Hydras are finally popping out, but they are late. And Jim is being punished for just skipping out on the queens. At the same time, he's going for a roach run by, which is cool. Ooh, and Pacomike overstays his welcome a little bit with these Void Rays. So at least JimRising is doing something with these roaches. It's better than nothing. And it's actually a significant amount of damage. Oh my god. 12 probes, not bad. But like, again, how many roaches just died? Those 15 roaches thrown away, all those queens, the main base. Luckily, JimRising didn't have his lair in his main, otherwise he would 100% be dead right now. So thankfully he keeps his lair alive, and he has a decent Hydra count. But oh god, these Void Rays have already paid for themselves. Like, the Void Rays, they could kill this 4th, honestly. Uh-oh. Oh no! The 4th base is gonna go down. Jimbo, not like this. Oh god. Oh, the move commands, the miscontrol. Pacomike throws away a couple of his Void Rays. There we go. We finally see a recall, but another Void Ray gets picked off. So despite the excellent execution of this build from Pacomike, there's a bit of miscontrol here and there. So like, this is kind of keeping Jim in this a little bit. Like, because of like these little mistakes, you know, losing a bunch of workers, losing a couple of Void Rays, like Jim still has a chance. It's not a big chance, don't get me wrong. You know, we're not hovering on too much copium right now, but it's still a chance. Like, there are carriers, but there's not that much protecting them. And with enough Hydras, like, Jim can push up this ramp. There's no splash damage. Robotics base just now finishing up. We don't have any disruptors. Like, Jim can still make this work if Pacomike overextends. There we go. We have a cancel on the 4th base. Again, 2 carriers aren't going to do anything against this army. Jim is respecting this, and he's too afraid to push up this ramp, which, to be fair, because of the sentries, it's the right call. But I do think that he should be rotating around. He needs to be continuing to be active here if he wants to make a comeback in this game. He has to just keep poking and prodding, finding a way in, hoping to find a pathway without any sentries. Pacomike's aware of that, so he's trying to send out hallucinations. He needs to see where the army is. The Hydras get revealed, but Pacomike was out of position. But we got one disruptor. The Nova! The Nova! Oh, the Nova goes off! Oh. And a good chunk of Hydras go down. Force field cuts up the rest. When JimRising is forced back home. Meanwhile, Hive is on the way. Ay, ay, ay. And Jim has been able to retake his bases. It was rough losing 2 hatcheries the way he did, but at least he was able to keep Pacomike busy at home. So JimRising, okay, he's alive, he's got his Hive. He needs Vipers more than anything, more than Lurkers. There we go, 4 Vipers are on the way. Again, this is how he's able to win this game. If he's able to get yoinks on the Disruptors before the Novas go off, he can win these fights. Or even snipe the carriers, right? It's going to be a very delicate dance. I also hope he stops Hydra production and he throws down a Spire. He needs to transition into Corruptors. I know you don't want to hear that right now, Jim. I know that you want to hear, no, yeah, just keep making Hydras and Vipers, you'll be okay. No, mate. We need something else. We need a Spire to transition at some point. Oh boy. Okay, Hydra's moving out. Uh-oh. This army is looking kind of naked. Oh god, the first Novas are going out. They get some connections. There's still one Nova. Oh my god, a little bit premature. That's it. That was the last Nova. God, Pacomike, please. He still has energy for those force fields, but in come the yoinks. Jim's doing it. He's doing it. He yoinks another carrier. How much time until the next Nova? Okay, we have it. It's reset. Nova goes off and oh god, it connects. No. JimRising loses a massive chunk of his Hydras. We see the recall back home. Oh, it doesn't even get a carrier. At the same time, we've got a charge lot run by. Trying to focus down this hatchery. I don't think he's gonna get it. Reinforcements are gonna rock up in time. So Jim will keep this this hatchery alive. And again, that fight probably went as well as it could have gone for Jim. Obviously, it was rough to see that one massive Nova go off. But like, this is what I mean. Like, if Jim had thrown down a Spire earlier, he could be making Corruptors right now. Right now, as we speak, he could be making Corruptors. Like, he is supply blocked right now, so that's not helping. But like, he's got the bank for it. He's got the gas. No! Ultras? Ultras are, we don't need more on the ground. This is the problem. The problem with Ultra Hydra is that they're both ground units and they get in each other's way. More often than not, the Ultras are going to have a hard time connecting with the army if they're behind the Hydras, or vice versa even. So I am a little bit concerned with this tech path. I mean, Ultras do have their place in this matchup, but Hydra Ultra is a little bit questionable. Oh boy. Meanwhile, we have a massive Zealot run by. It does catch a decent chunk of Hydras, and that's great. We're trading minerals for gas here, so Pacomike coming out ahead in that exchange. He's moving out at the same time. He is maxed, but these Zealots need to be with the main army. Like, again, these carriers are looking quite naked. And I feel like the problem is that Pacomike is making mass carrier right now, which isn't necessarily what you want, but the Nova goes off. Oh god. It connects again. We have a couple hallucinations coming in, but we have the yoinks. Carriers are getting picked off one after the other, but there are just so many carriers anyway. And unfortunately, Jim was fighting without the spores. At the same time, massive Zealot run by. I was saying, yo, the Zealot should be with the main army. Instead, they just went for a massive counterattack, keeping Jim on 4 bases, equal bases with the Protoss. Oof. Look at this, 17 Hydras. 17 Hydras. Just make God. God damn it. And this is the nail in the coffin. Storm, mate. Storm is on the way. Oh, God. Oh, but before that happens, okay, Archon gets picked off for free. Still got plenty of Viper. Oh, God. Still got plenty of Vipers. Do you see a yoink? We're gonna have plenty more yoinks. The problem is that I think we have too many Vipers right now. You know, maybe one or two less Vipers just for some more army supply. I'm worried that we're gonna see some yoinks and Jim may not even have the DPS to kill it. Okay, we do see one yoink. Ultra putting in a lot of work. Yo, we got some power bombs. How good are the splits, Paco? Splits are not really there, but GG gets called anyway. Oh my god, JimRising just lost his top left-hand base at the same time to another Zealot run by. GG gets called and Pacomike takes the series 2-0. This is the Pacomike I wanted to see 2 weeks ago. Pacomike versus Jim was in the grand finals of Copa Hyperion number 35. And Pacomike was going for like all these 2-base all-ins, was going for these proxies. I'm like, what's going on? This isn't the Pacomike we know. This is the Pacomike we know and love. Going for the Sky Toss, going for the late game. GG. Oh. Congratulations, Pacomike takes the series and he will move on to face Eggs in the grand finals. I'll do it again. GG. Congratulations.